Here we are. Hi, Loren. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I warmly welcome you to our platform. And this is called Global Women Power. And we are an organization set up in 2013. It's a nonprofit, and our main focus is to bring empowerment to women folk in terms of financial strength and also in terms of whatever motivation they need to carry on with their life. So in that sequence only, we started this series called Sheroes, and Nancy had been working with me. We are trying to reach out to people, those who can be an example, and we do not have to, go through the books to learn things. We can learn from live example. So that's where we are meeting with you. So I will ask you to introduce yourself, Loren, to our audience.
Sure. Thank you for having me. So, I'm Loren Brill, and I'm the founder and CEO of Sweet Loren's. And we are a clean food company sold in grocery stores across the country. So, we make cookie dough, and our products are sold in the refrigerated cookie dough section of over 12,000 supermarkets across the US and Canada. And my goal is to create food that's delicious, made of really clean, sustainable, high quality ingredients. And we're also allergen friendly. So besides just being delicious, we're plant-based, we're gluten-free, we're peanut and tree nut free, we're dairy-free, we're kosher parv, so that hopefully everyone at your dinner table can enjoy the same product and feel like they're eating really high quality ingredients that are good for them, but also taste good. So I'm here to kind of disrupt the food industry and make a brand that, you really trust and feel good about eating.
I'm so I'm feeling so ignorant that I didn't know about this product because I'm a hunter that way. I keep looking for people, those who feel for the food. Because I was in food industry, and then it was a restaurant. So I will look at the faith with which people walk in your restaurant, and now responsibility is all yours. What you're going to feed them.
Exactly.
Right. So thank you so much, to keeping the essence there. That's what is really needed. So from here onwards, Loren, when did you start? Is it your brainchild or you're carrying on some tradition?
No, it's my brainchild. I started the company after I graduated college in my early 20s. I got sick. I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 22 years old. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and thankfully I was cured, but I had to go through treatment, and it was an incredibly scary time, and it changed my life. And so when I got diagnosed, I decided I was going to do everything in my power to get healthy. And besides just taking the medicine and going through chemo, I decided I was going to study nutrition and keep my body as healthy as possible. And I realized I was 22 years old. I didn't really know how to cook. So I started to take cooking lessons so I could cook delicious food that was also healthy. And I actually found it was quite easy to make a lot of meals that were fresh and healthy, just using real food ingredients. But I have a huge sweet tooth. And there was just nothing I could find in supermarkets that was really delicious, but also made of good ingredients. And so that's where the aha for Sweet Loren's came, because I decided it doesn't exist. I need to make it myself. And so I started just play around in my kitchen. And after hundreds and hundreds of batches, I finally, saw the way that friends and family started to eat them. And they were like, this is the best cookie I've ever had. Of course I would rather buy this than something very processed on the shelf. But if it's not easy to buy on the shelf, it's going to be hard for me to, kind of swap it out and start using it for my family. Like, I need it to be convenient. And that's really where I got the idea to start Sweet Loren's and make sure that it was found in every grocery store possible and as easy to find and on the shelf right next to kind of the conventional players, so that families, can find us easily and that we really become an option, because I do believe that most people want to eat healthier and cleaner. They just want it to taste good, and they want to make it as easy as possible. So making it conveniently found is, our goal. So that's really how Sweet Loren started to grow.
You're making
So
me hungry.
You guys got to grab some. Where do you live? Where do you both live?
we live in Fremont.
And what are your local grocery stores?
Whole Foods, I generally go to Sprouts, Whole
Okay.
Foods.
So
Are you there?
we're in Whole Foods in the refrigerated cookie dough section. So
Wow.
definitely check it out.
Are you in Safeway?
And we're in Safeway,
Okay. Trader Joe's?
not Trader Joe's yet. But we're in Publix, also Kroger's, Whole Foods. If you go on our website, sweetlorens.com, you can put in your zip code and it'll show you all the stores that we're in.
So one more question related to health because it is sugar. So what are you doing? Sugar substitute or some basic about sugar?
So I have played with every type of sugar out there because I look at every ingredient very seriously that goes into our product. And after tons of testing, I really found that what most people want, or what our customers want, is real food their body can digest. So we use non-GMO, plant-based, pure molasses and cane sugar. And, I try to use as little as possible in each recipe, but at the same time, the point of my product is to be your indulgence, is to be a delicious cookie. And so I really believe sugar shouldn't be in your daily food. You should have a low sugar intake, in your meals. And you have to watch out for that because sometimes it's in a lot of sauces or breads or drinks. But I think that dessert, if as long as you're having a balanced diet and active lifestyle, having real ingredients in your dessert, can be part of a very healthy, balanced lifestyle where you don't feel deprived. You feel like you really got the most delicious, indulgent dessert, and you made it part of a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So that's our premise. I've played with everything from stevia to maple syrup to honey to, and when it comes down to it, what I found with our customers is that people want the taste of real food, and they want food that your body knows how to digest. And I believe when you use real ingredients, your body knows how to break them down versus something artificial or highly processed.
So, I will add to it that health has become some kind of misunderstood and a healthy food also. And mostly, it gets hidden in the advertising and, how people are presenting it. But that's what your answer is, the most appropriate answer, because you have to really look at it and the holistic or the whole food. If you have whole sugar, because I use it too, it doesn't spike your blood sugar. It just gets digested. So
We
I second what you're saying.
Good. I appreciate that. And we also, all of our recipes are 100% whole grain. So we don't use any refined flours. So all of our recipes have some fiber and protein. And so when you also have that in, our cookies, your body knows how to, it breaks it down much slower, right? It's not completely refined, empty flours that just kind of spike your blood sugar level. So you got to look at all the ingredients in what you're eating and, holistically. It's not just one ingredient, probably
Exactly.
culprit for your health.
I notice a lot of the low sub-quality sweets, I call them junk food. They don't fill you up, and then they make you eat more and more and more, and you're not full.
That's exactly the point. When most cookies and most sweets in general are made from white flour, and if white flour has zero fiber, basically, it's very empty because there's no, most of the grain has actually been removed, and so if there's no fiber, your body doesn't really get full fast. So if you eat a lot of products with white flour, you can kind of just keep going a lot of the time, even though your brain is probably like, wait a minute, this is too many cookies or too much bread. But if there's not fiber, your body just doesn't know when to tell you I'm full. So again, I believe in real food, whole food, as unprocessed food as possible. And that really means keeping grains intact. And there's so many amazing flours that are whole grain. We use a lot of oat flour and, things like that, so that well, you know, it tastes delicious, but there's also just naturally, it contains fiber and protein, so that as you eat it, you're like, oh, I'm satisfied, you know, after a couple of cookies. It's not like you could eat the whole bag. And I think that's again, a really important thing for your body.
Because, you know, most of the time, if people, for them, cookie means junk food.
Yes.
I'm eating cookies. Mm. So you are completely changing the definition of a cookie. Thank you.
That's exactly it. It's like, wait a minute, you can have the healthiest lifestyle and have the most delicious cookie. Yes,
Yes.
it's possible.
Good.
I have a question. At what point did you get interested and become a yoga specialist? You should join my Facebook group called Food Meditation. Alka actually suggested the idea because I love tasting food.
Cool. I I actually grew up with a mother who was very into yoga. So I grew up doing yoga since I was a teenager. I used to do gymnastics when I was really young, and I think it just became a natural kind of progression. And so after I graduated, well, actually, even before I graduated college, I became a certified yoga instructor because I genuinely was just so interested in the practice, and I love staying active, and I love the mind-body connection, and I love staying flexible and open, and I just became certified because I wanted to deepen my own practice, and I wanted to be able to teach on the side, you know, to make some extra money, and so I did that for a handful of years. Even when I started Sweet Loren's for the first couple of years, I still taught yoga on the side because I wasn't making any money at the very beginning. And so I still do yoga weekly. I'm very grateful for it. Keeps me very grounded and sane, and it's just very important.
So coming to the business side of cookies, because of pandemic also, and earlier also, I have find many women, they start cooking from their kitchen, and but then they remain small always. Most of the time, they remain small. So just enlighten our audience a little bit on the business side. How can you grow just from an idea to such a, I will say, an empire, though?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy, but it's possible. So I think it's really important when someone has a good idea for them to get really clear on what's their goal with their recipe or product. For me, for instance, when I got sick, you know, my doctor didn't talk about food or nutrition at all. And that was shocking to me, that food and health, like your nutrition and the types of food you should get, and even exercise and mental health, like none of that was really addressed. It was all about the medicine. And I'm very grateful for that medicine. It helped absolutely cure me. But I know that I also am stronger mentally because I explored all these other, you know, paths to holistic health. And so, you know, after I started creating these recipes in my kitchen, it wasn't to create a business. It was really a personal need. I was like, I am starving. You know, I want to live a life that's full. I don't want to feel deprived. I don't want to have to be on a diet for the rest of my life. I don't want to feel like I can't eat things. Like food is my favorite thing. I love experiencing delicious food. And I really believe that food is the most important thing because it's energy. What we put in our body is how we get energy. So if you don't put high quality food inside yourself, how are you going to think really straight? How are you going to have optimal energy? Like, we are machines, you know, at a certain level, and food really touches all of your cells. And so, you know, I got very passionate about food and how connected it is to our health and well-being. Like not like woo-woo about it, like really physically, I felt the difference when I ate clean food, so much so that I kind of couldn't look at anything else anymore. It like took me over. It was like what I just became so passionate about. So thankfully I was cured. And then I tried to get a job working for a couple other companies, but I was miserable. And that's when I realized, like, I really am an entrepreneur. I really felt like I had an idea, a product, a story that I wanted to share with the world. And it was the only thing that lit me up No other job excited me. I knew how short life was. So I just said, you have one life. Like, I want to make the most out of this. And you know, I think I also just saw the reaction that friends and family had with the cookies I was making in my kitchen. If they didn't make such a big deal about it, I probably wouldn't have had such an aha moment. But when I saw over and over again, friends and family be like, this is amazing. This is the best cookie I've ever had. I want to eat your cookie dough raw. I love your cookie dough. Like, I just was like, I'm not making this up. You know, it's not just me who wants this. A lot of people want this. And so then I started studying the food industry. And when I started to study how packaged food gets on the shelf, I was really quite disgusted with what I saw. Just, you know, most packaged food that's in supermarkets is, there's kind of like a handful of global food companies that own them. And their ingredients aren't necessarily sustainably sourced. They're not non-GMO, potentially. Like health and clean ingredients are not at the forefront of why they've created these companies or products. And to be honest, I don't even think some of them taste that good. And so I just was like, wow, if I don't create something on the shelf, a brand that could be on this shelf and really be an option for families across the country and world one day, the food system's going to stay the same, because these are such big companies. Like they can just keep coming up with new products. And so that really, it like intuitively just struck a chord with me. Like, if I can't start, this idea for Sweet Loren's can't be small, because if it's small, it'll just feed my friends and family. And that's nice, but that doesn't fill my passion, my need to make a real difference in our food system, to really create an option for people. And so I knew that the only way for me to really feel like this was worth it, because this is a very hard industry to break into, was to become a brand name, to be sold in thousands of supermarkets, to really compete against the big guys, and really offer something new that no one's ever had before, which is a healthier, cleaner, delicious cookie dough option, you know, that can feed anyone, you know, and also someone that, you know, maybe has a certain lifestyle, like they're plant-based, or they have a food allergy, you know, where they're gluten-free or dairy-free or nut-free, whatever it is. It's like, we create something that hasn't been there before. So, you know, I think I had that very big vision from the beginning, and that was very helpful. So I always suggest for anyone who wants to start a company, just get really clear on what you want. If you want more of a lifestyle, smaller brand, you know, that's totally fine, you know, but just get clear on that. If you want to build something huge that's accessible to anyone in the world or country, and, you know, it's a different path you're taking. And so it has completely taken over my life for several years. I work all the time, but I absolutely love it. And we've just continued to grow slowly. So Whole Foods, for instance, was my first customer. And from there, you know, I started to get into more stores and listen to customer feedback and change our packaging and slightly tweak our recipe. And over the years, I've just continually improved the product and packaging, and grew a team, you know, and so now I can say we're the #1 natural cookie dough brand in the US, but it's taken us, you know, 5 years, you know, to get here. And so, you know, I think that my biggest learnings are just having a really clear goal and plan that excites you, building a really good team, because you can't do it alone, and you know, making sure you're constantly improving your product all the time.
So in your, I am impressed, and I know what you're talking. That's how it happens. But in your storyline, I did not see that you were coming with some big pool of money. So how little you needed to start, and then it grew.
Yeah, I tried. I was a one-woman show at the very beginning. So, you know, when I started this company, I made a commitment to myself. I would do anything that I needed to do to get it off the ground. And I just went 100% in. So the first couple of years, I was teaching yoga on the side so I could make some money. I was living at home for the first couple of years to save some money on rent. I didn't hire anyone for the first couple of years. I got into Whole Foods, and I was that girl demoing in the Whole Foods at the same time. It was hard. It was incredibly hard, but I didn't have enough money to just hire 1 million people overnight. So I just slowly kept growing it. And then once I got us into Publix and then Kroger supermarkets, which are the biggest supermarkets in the US, that's when I raised some money from friends and family. And I just knew, and I could hire some more people for the team. And I knew that then we would be a multi-million-dollar business, because those were huge quantities they were going to be buying. And that's when we started to really take off. And so I've tried to be as scrappy as possible and take in as little money as possible. And, I'm proud to say now we're very self-sustaining, so we've never had to raise from a private equity or VC funding.
Are you in Costco too?
So we were actually just in Costco in all Midwest stores and LA stores for the holiday, but it's gone already. It was kind of an in and out. So we definitely love Costco. Request us at your local Costco because they really do listen to that. And hopefully we'll be able to get into more next year.
So do we go to headquarters or just go to the local?
You can go to your local store and they have like a customer service section and you can just request Sweet Loren's cookie dough.
I'll do that.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
So in your crew or in your staff, more women, more men, equal diversity? Any?
I would love to say it's totally equal, but it's way more women. We have less than 10 employees. So we're not a huge team base, but it's mostly women. But we have some amazing men as well. And I'm sure as we grow, it'll kind of even out. But I guess at the beginning, it was kind of women that were ready to roll up their sleeves and do the hard work with me, which, I feel really inspired by, because we do have a team of we've just surrounded ourselves with really strong, capable, driven, confident, hardworking women, and so that's the world I'm around. It's super supportive and collaborative. And I mean, it's not a male dominated culture that I know a lot of corporate cultures can be. So we're proud of what we've built with mostly a team of women.
And do you face challenges, or did you trademark your product, or do you feel challenges that people can steal your recipe or something like that, or nothing like that?
So recipes are a crazy thing. Like, I'm sure you've all heard of the Coca-Cola recipe. It's kept under lock and key. When you have a recipe, just because recipes, you could change the smallest thing in a recipe and all of a sudden it's a new recipe. Mm-hmm. So you can't trademark a recipe. So all we have is a top secret recipe that no one knows, and it's kind of, that's what we do with the recipe. But I think it's really more important that you have a really strong brand, look and feel, and that your brand stands for something. So, we have this bright magenta logo. That's the color we use a lot. We've definitely seen competitors try to copy, certain parts of our brand or packaging, but good luck, good luck to anyone else. We know who we are, we've done a lot of hard work kind of being an authentic brand. And I think that is what people really are drawn to in the future. But you definitely have to trademark your logo, trademark your name, things like that to protect yourself.
So I have a question about the gluten ingredients. Have you focused on that because you don't take gluten, or you think it's just not healthy, or is it to accommodate those that have celiac, gluten intolerance?
Yeah, it's a great question. So actually, when I started, I'm not gluten-free. I can eat, anything as long as it's real food. I started, my recipes originally were just natural and unprocessed as possible. And then once we got into Publix and Kroger and Whole Foods and these major supermarkets, we realized we started getting emails and messages from people every day saying, my kid has an egg allergy. Can you make sure there's no eggs in your product? My husband is gluten-free. Can you do something that's gluten-free? I have a son with a nut allergy. So we don't bring anything in the house with nuts. And I just realized, oh my God, there are so many people out there that have certain dietary restrictions or lifestyles, or someone in their family does, and it affects them, the whole house. And none of the conventional products on the shelf cater to them. Maybe I should create, a line that is more allergen friendly, and free from a lot of these things, but make sure it tastes delicious so no one even knows. And so we did a little test, and just tested it, and it became our #1 flavor overnight. And that's when I realized, it's a much more fun business when you go after a white space, right? When you find something where there's really a problem out there. Millions of people are starving and don't have an option. So when you offer something like this, you're going to have raving fans overnight. And so basically over the last couple of years, we've just made our entire line, we just call it universal. So it's clean ingredients, delicious taste are our goals, but I have tried to make it free from as many things as possible so that it's as universally enjoyed as possible. So we don't have soy in our product. We don't have gluten. We don't have any dairy. We don't have any eggs. We have no peanuts or tree nuts. We're kosher parve. The list can go on. Nothing artificial, all non-GMO. I've just every step of the way tried to keep it as clean and real food based as possible. And that's been, we've been able to feed so many people that have never had an option before because of it. So I get scared saying it's gluten-free and plant-based because sometimes people are like, oh, well, I'm not gluten-free or plant-based. It's not going to taste good. But I promise you, it's delicious. It just happens to be gluten-free and plant-based.
You're going to make some, do you make kosher for Passover sweets?
We don't yet.
So, I saw a cartoon, and in this cartoon, a couple with 2 kids are sitting, and a waitress is standing next to them, and they're saying, he doesn't take gluten, and this, and this, and this, and then waitress is asking, do you want Uber or Lyft? So they did not know that Sweet Loren's food is a solution.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's, our product feeds everyone. So, you can feel good about giving it, to anyone, and they'll enjoy it, hopefully.
So another question from women's perspective is work-life or life-work balance. How do you do it?
Yeah, it's hard. I would say at the beginning, I didn't have much of one because I was doing so much alone. But then once I hired a team, it was really about, well, I'm not going to be happy with a big business, but no friends or life partner or kids. And so, that was a pivotal reason I wanted to hire a team and start to delegate work. And, I'm the CEO. I get to focus on the things that I like doing and delegate the rest so that I really have a more balanced life, and have a space to, I got married this year. We're expecting our first child, all these exciting things, really because the business now is sustainable and I have a really great team running it.
Does it take equal effort to learn to relax?
It probably does. I think the blessing and the curse of being a passionate entrepreneur is that even if I didn't ever need to work another day in my life, I would still want to do what I'm doing. Like, I really love, what we're doing at Sweet Loren's, and I'm constantly like creating recipes in my head, and food is so much part of our life that I'm constantly inspired by trying to recreate healthier versions of our favorite foods. So that's the thing, is that without trying to work, I am working all the time because it's just what I love and it's the way my brain works. But I will say that it is really important to set boundaries, because otherwise you can never take vacation or never really relax, or you're just not even interesting anymore. It's like you don't have hobbies with other things, or, so it's important to look at your life and say, what do I really want out of my whole life, not just work.
So do you support charities and certain other causes?
Yes, we've kind of partnered with different organizations over the years. Presently, we're doing something with the Lymphoma Research Center. We're doing this event called the Great Bake that'll be going on throughout next year, where normally this would be kind of more in person, a bake sale, where it's to raise money for lymphoma research, which is obviously something that's close to my heart and near and dear to millions of people that have been affected by lymphoma and other cancers. But now, because of COVID, it's really become a virtual bake sale. So, but it's going on, so you can, join us at lymphoma.com/the Great Bake and find Sweet Loren's. You can donate. You can also bake something, maybe for someone local, like your friends or neighbors, and they can buy it from you. But them buying it is really a donation, to Lymphoma Center. So we've partnered with different, organizations that we feel connected to and that we want to support over time. We're always open to figuring out how to make the world better.
Good. Last question I have for you is that, government also encourages women-based businesses. Did you try that route?
So we are woman-owned certified. And I will say it does help in certain ways. So for instance, we are trying to work with the military and be a food purveyor for them. And, they have to work with a certain amount of diversity in woman-owned businesses. So we check off that box. There's a couple of supermarkets like Kroger, for instance, that really supports diversity or woman-owned businesses when they have something really special, and they were really supportive of us. So we use that as much as possible to help us break through, because we're going to use anything we can to break through. It's a hard world to break through anyway. So we use that as much as possible.
Perfect.
Has your business been affected by COVID in any way?
Thankfully, it's been affected in the sense that we become a virtual company, but thankfully our sales have actually increased during this time because packaged food has increased. People are home, relying on what they can find in a supermarket to feed their family. And I can't tell you how many emails and messages we've gotten from people just saying like, I'm home with my 3 children with Zoom, they're in school. I'm trying to run my, work my day job. Thank you so much for Sweet Loren's. Like, because I want to give that happy feeling at home and fresh baked cookies or dessert for the whole family. And I don't have time to bake from scratch, or, I don't know how to make all these ingredients taste good. And so I think we've felt like, hopefully we've made a lot of families happy and kept them really safe. We ship from our website direct to your home so that, again, people. Perfect. Yeah. So, our team has bent over backwards to figure out how to manage being a virtual company. We switched, we've just a lot of changes in the business to manage this time, but thankfully we figured it out, because feeding people is so important and keeping people safe is so important. So.
Thank you, Loren. Very inspiring talk with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely. Happy holidays.
To you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.